revelation of allegations against Premier. Chief Rabbi takes turn for worse. Jerusalem Environmental Conference.
Machon Meir, studying Torah, Judaism, and Hebrew in a truly Zionist environment in Israel. Torah and Zionism from the heart of Jerusalem. Registration is open throughout the year.
Today is the 15th of Yair, 5768, May 20th, 2008. I'm Aaron Deutsch, and you are watching Arutz Sheva, Israel National News. On Monday, the Bagatz, the Israeli Supreme Court, heard from State Prosecutor Moshe Lador details of the current investigation against the Premier. Although these details were already public knowledge, hearing the details from Lador emphasized the severity of the charges.
On Monday, Moshe Lador, the state prosecutor, described the suspicions against Prime Minister Omar. This is the first public revelation on the case, which until now has been largely kept secret. Omar said Lador received, according to the suspicion, cash money from the hands of Mr. Talansky in Israel through his office manager, Shaul, and in the U.S. The money was transferred during visits in Israel and in meetings with Omar, short meetings, where he would hand over the money in dollars, cash, in envelopes to Omar. Regarding Omar's response that all the money was used for election campaigns, Lador said, the investigation is checking relationships from more than 15 years ago. Some of the money was transferred in periods of time when there was no election campaign. It is unclear whether the court will allow investigators to take a pre-trial deposition from Talansky early next week. While police have summoned Talansky to testify Sunday, the Premier's lawyers have challenged the move. Talansky is planning to leave Israel next week. The American businessman arrived in Israel for the Pesach holiday, but has been prevented from returning to America by police. The police have not as yet uncovered proof the money Omar received was in exchange for favors, nor has any justification for having taken the sums without reporting them been provided. The Prime Minister has claimed he used the money to pay election debts, but he has so far been unable to substantiate these statements. For a few days already, the police have been trying to coordinate a second session of questions with Omar. Only today did Omar's bureau find time on his schedule. The police investigators will meet the Prime Minister for 1 hour on Friday.
Former Chief Sephardic Rabbi Mordechai Eliyahu was rushed to the intensive care unit at Jerusalem Shaarei Tzedek Hospital. The rabbi's condition is described as critical. The public is asked to pray for a complete and speedy recovery for Mordechai Tzemach ben Mazel Tov. An attempted suicide bombing was foiled by 19-year-old Corporal Michal Yaakov. The would-be bomber tried to cross the Hawara checkpoint near Shechem Monday night. Yaakov ordered him to pass through a metal detector, which sounded, signaling a further search was necessary. She told him to raise his shirt and yelled "bomb" when she saw explosive devices. The terrorist refused to lie down and began to lower his arms in an attempt to set off the bomb. A commander at the checkpoint shot and killed him. It was discovered the terrorist carried 3 pipe bombs. Military sources have expressed concern that the decision to remove checkpoints will allow additional attacks against Israel. An international conference was recently held in Jerusalem on environmental protection. We spoke with one of the organizers, Dr. Yossi Leshem, of the Society for the Protection of Nature in Israel.
Shalom.
Shalom. Now, what is the purpose of the conference?
This is our first Jerusalem International Conference, which is discussing on the protection of the environment and nature in Israel and around. The session which is coming just now will be on the, what's an issue which I am leading, migrating birds know no boundaries, how we can cooperate with the Palestinian, Jordanian and our other neighbors. And the main issue is to bring the idea of nature protection and environment to the public and to the decision makers. So there are different issues that we are discussing here on education, on conservation and on nature protection.
And for a country that is very caught up in security issues, is it difficult to focus attention on the environment?
Yeah, of course, it's a real problem here because the decision makers have a real problem when they're talking on the environment, this was sometimes a punishment of the Prime Minister to give this Ministry of the Environment to his ministers. But for example, you can see here on my background, we are now making a big competition of the National Bird of Israel, and we made a big activity in the Ministry of Defense, and Mr. Ehud Barak, the Minister of Defense, came and voted for the Israeli National Bird as well as the Chief of Staff.
At the conference, different environmental solutions were showcased, including a unique way to recycle.
This is a product that the SPNI Society developed with another company. It's called in Hebrew kakulim. With this product we can go outside to the nature. We can put it on our bag and collect empty bottles and then take them to a recycling pen or something like this.
It has been 1,000 days since the expulsion from Gush Katif, and most residents have yet to receive compensation or permanent living arrangements. Gush Katif refugees gathered to protest their treatment at the hands of the government outside of the Knesset, where the very decree destroying the communities of Gush Katif originated.
We're here today, the people who lived in Gush Katif for, in my case, 27 years, in some cases 30 years, in some cases less, to protest that after 1,000 days of being out of our homes, the government took away our homes, took away our land, took away our work, took away our pensions, took away every possible means of survival. We're still surviving, we're still here, we're still demanding what Memshelet Israel promised us, that they would repay everything that they took from us in kind.
Likud Party chairman and opposition leader Benjamin Netanyahu called for early elections, saying the current government has no mandate to negotiate with the PA. Netanyahu said during a meeting of the Likud Knesset faction, this government has no mandate to negotiate the borders of this country or to divide its capital city. The government must go back to the people and allow the nation to choose its leadership once again. Netanyahu cited 5 reasons why Omar should step down, including failures in the Second Lebanon War, ongoing rocket attacks on Israel, failures in the economy, and education, and a lack of faith by the public in the government institutions. Netanyahu also called on the Shas party to leave the government. Arab terrorists fired additional missiles at the Port City of Ashkelon on Monday, while narrowly missing a strategic site. There is a general gag order on the media against revealing the site to prevent spotting for Hamas terrorists. Ashkelon is Israel's 13th largest city and hosts sizable oil and gas pipelines, as well as a large electricity power station. Gaza terrorists fired 3 mortar shells at Israeli communities in the western Negev later in the day. These shells landed in open areas in the Sha'ar HaNegev and Eshkol regions. No injuries were reported. The attacks came as the government stated a major offensive against the terrorist infrastructure in Gaza is growing more likely. Egyptian mediators are hoping to stave off such a scenario with a tahadiyah, or period of calm, between Hamas terrorist organization and Israel, even if only unofficially agreed upon at this point. Transportation Minister Shaul Mofaz called for an immediate offensive against the Hamas terrorists in Arab-occupied Gaza. The one-time defense minister and IDF chief of staff told Voice of Israel government radio on Monday that he would suggest letting the army decide exactly what type of counter-terrorist assault to carry out. The present situation of constant Qassam and other missile attacks is intolerable, asserted the minister. We have to create a situation in which Hamas will come to us and request a ceasefire. The policy of restraint is over. Mofaz called for a less aggressive approach to bring home kidnapped IDF Corporal Gilad Shalit, though. The former IDF chief of staff argued for indirect negotiations with Hamas, though Israel has officially banned all contacts with the terror group.
Gilad Shalit, the abducted soldier, is at the center of our screen, and we expect that if any kind of process toward reducing the level of violence will take place, it will include a way to move toward his release.
And that wraps up today's newscast. Join us again tomorrow for another edition. Until then, shalom from all of us here at Arutz Sheva, Israel National News. Israel.